Awesome. Thank you very much. Welcome. All right. Before we get started, first item on the agenda is approval of minutes from July 31st, 2025. Has everyone had a chance to take a look? And are there any edits, comments, requests for changes?
No.
Okay. Would somebody like to make a motion to approve the minutes as written?
So moved.
Thank you. And a second?
Second.
Thank you.
Zulik,
Yes.
Barrington,
Yes.
Barbary Klevsky.
Can I abstain? I wasn't at the meeting.
Yep, that's fine. And Smith.
Yes. Okay, first up, request for determination of applicability, 6 Dairy Farm Lane. Excuse me, in accordance with the Wetlands Protection Act, Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, and the Southborough Wetlands Bylaw, the Southborough Conservation Commission will conduct a public hearing on Thursday, September 11, 2025 at 7:00 p.m. via a virtual Zoom meeting. The commission will consider a request for determination of applicability for a project located at 6 Dairy Farm Lane, map 72, lot 27, for the applicant and owner, Jamie Simoneau. The project description is the installation of a shed.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. I don't think I see anyone here for that. If you are, please use the raise hand feature. But otherwise, yes, this is just a 16 by 16 shed to the rear of the property, an existing lawn. So this is a relatively new house. We issued the COC, I think, last year. So the fence that is existing is on the open space easement. So this is outside of the open space, restricted open space, and outside of the 20-foot buffer zone. It'll be about 4 feet from the fence, and just be, I believe, on gravel to level it out.
Great, and I see you've already put in the proposed special condition that erosion controls will be installed and inspected by you prior to the installation of the shed. And that would have been my only comment. Any questions, comments, concerns from the commission?
No.
Doesn't look like it. Okay. Is there anyone here this evening from the public who wishes to ask a question or offer a comment about this project? If so, please use the raised hand function and we will promote you right up.
I did see the homeowner just jumped
there.
on, but Jamie, we just went over it quickly, and no questions from commissioners.
And it sounds like there are no questions from the public. So at this point, I think we're looking for a motion to issue a negative determination of applicability, conditioned as discussed with regards to erosion controls.
So moved.
Thank you. And is there a second?
Second.
Zulik,
Yes.
Barrington,
Yes.
Barbary Klevsky,
Yes.
Smith.
Yes.
All right. Jamie, you're all set. I'm going to get this approval and get your building permit going.
Thanks for joining us. Okay, 7:07, we're good to go for notice of intent, 13 Foley Drive, map 45, lot 47, construction of in-ground pool. I'm sorry, that's not the, there we go. I was reading the wrong thing. In accordance with the Wetlands Protection Act, Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, and the Southborough Wetlands Bylaw, Southborough Conservation Commission will conduct a public hearing on Thursday, September 11, 2025 at 7:05 p.m. via a virtual Zoom meeting. The commission will consider a notice of intent for a project located at 13 Foley Drive, map 45, lot 47, for the applicant and owner, Miguel Rosa. The project description is installation of an in-ground pool. Again, I don't see the applicant. Is there anyone here representing Mr. Rosa?
Nope, they let me know that they would not be available tonight. So I've talked to them extensively about this, so I will take this one on as well. This is a above ground pool that we permitted, I believe, in 2019. This past year, the liner has ripped, so the pool is given way. So they are looking to change it from above ground to below ground. So it's going to be in the same exact footprint. The existing deck is going to be replaced with a paved patio because it's going to be on the ground. And then they have agreed to stop mowing a portion of the rear property. This is something that came up in the previous notice of intent application and hearing. It's very saturated in the backyard, always has been. There's very high groundwater. So in a section that gets a lot of ruts from mowing, so it kind of just makes sense. Some of it might have encroached into the wetland area too, so giving that back along with some additional 20 foot, I think will help alleviate any of the impacts of mitigation for this work, but it is in the same area as this above ground pool. So they are also adding, because of the high groundwater, some dry well infiltration to the side of the house. They're connecting the roof gutters through downspouts to this dry well and installing it near the pool area. Unfortunately, we don't have a DEP number. I tried very hard to get it for tonight, but we did not get it, so we will have to continue. But I think I was here for the last iteration of this project, so I was very familiar with the site as well. So didn't have any kind of issues, just kind of making sure that they have their erosion controls installed and really keep track of that saturated ground to make sure nothing further gets impacted.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or comments from the commission? Okay, if there's anyone here from the public this evening who'd like to ask a question or offer a comment on the project, please use the raise hand function and we will promote you up to do that. Okay, looks like there's nobody. Looks like we're pretty much good to go from our end, just waiting on the DEP number. So I think at our next meeting it'll be just dotting that final I. So in the interim, we just need a motion to continue this to our next public meeting.
So moved.
Thank you. And a second.
Second.
Thank you.
Zulik,
Yes.
Barrington,
Yes.
Barbary Glebsky,
Yes.
Smith.
Yes. Okay, 7:10, 7:11, we're good to go for the next one. A notice of intent for 6 Brook Lane in accordance with the Wetlands Protection Act, Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, and the Southborough Wetlands Bylaw. The Southborough Conservation Commission will conduct a public hearing on Thursday, September 11, 2025 at 7:10 p.m. via a virtual Zoom meeting. The commission will consider a notice of intent for a project located at 6 Brook Lane, map 39, lot 41, for the applicant Peter Atchu. The project description is the installation of a septic system. Okay, it looks like Mr. Atchu is not here. Does he have a representative here?
Yes,
Yep.
Vito's here.
Oh, Vito, welcome.
Hello. All right. I'm Vito Colonna, Cornerstone Engineering. Let me just share the screen to get the plan up. Okay. So this is 6 Brook Lane. It's kind of right near the intersection with Route 9. It's a pretty small lot. It's 10,000 square feet. So it's relatively constrained. There is an existing wetland that kind of starts up at the top. There's a kind of a thread of a wetland, and then it gets into this larger wetland down the bottom that has a intermittent stream that runs up under Route 9 and up by Willow Street and on to the reservoirs eventually. And there's also a drain line that comes from the street, and so I think it picks up flow from across the road, goes through the site and discharges to that same stream right in here. So they have right now a series of septic systems on site. It's old. In the backyard, they have a cesspool that overflows to a septic tank, and then that tank overflows to a leaching pit. And then over here, they have another cesspool that actually has a 4-inch overflow that goes directly into the brook. So these are old systems, kind of been probably added on and modified over the last 50 years or so. But obviously that one that goes directly into the brook is not very compliant or doing any good right now. So we want to get this fixed.
Is that a gray water system, hopefully, or?
It takes the laundry, but then it also takes plumbing from I think one fixture in the basement. I don't know if it's from a bathroom down there or if it's
Oh, okay.
So the majority of it does go to this upper system.
Yep.
But there is some that goes to here that isn't just laundry.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry to
But
interrupt.
no, yes. So we were surprised when we did find that. Usually, we don't see that. So it does need to get fixed. Right now, there is only one person living in the house. And I don't even think they really use this lower level except for the laundry. So at least right now, only laundry is going in there. So what we did, we really can't fit really much on this site. So we did the maximum we could. We fit a large leach field right down in this area. And the thing is the perk rates were also 60 minutes an inch, which is the slowest you can have. And we have groundwater at 2 feet or less. What we did was he added in a secondary treatment system. It's a micro fast system. So that can reduce the nitrogen levels and also clean up the wastewater. And it also allows us to get the leach field 50% smaller. So this is actually a 50% size leach field. If it was full size, it wouldn't really fit on the lot itself. We've submitted to Board of Health already, and they have not approved it yet. I've talked with Dennis Costello, and he thinks he's just trying to find the pathway to get through the process. We have to go through DCR also because it's a variance and it is a public water supply. It is a backup supply, but it is still regulated as a public water supply. And anything within 100 feet of a tributary has to get a variance and has to get signed off by the state also. So as far as the wetlands go, the 25-foot buffer is this green line kind of right through here. Right now, this is all lawn up to this kind of bubble line. So we're trying to stay within the lawn mostly. We do have some incursion outside the lawn right here to get this retaining wall in. And we did ask for a waiver to get within that 25-foot buffer. We are working as close as, I think it's 3 feet from the wetland right in this corner. So it is, like I say, there's really no other options that we could see to get a septic system onto the site. And we're trying to, improve a not so good situation that's out there. Let's see, I think that is kind of it. I guess the only thing with the system itself, we are putting a retaining wall around this itself through there. So essentially what we're going to do is access from the road, come in, put the tanks in, build the retaining wall, at least this part of it, and then just kind of fill that interior with sand, like fill a bucket, and then install the system. So it should be relatively contained within itself, where we won't have exposed slopes everywhere. Once that retaining wall is built, it kind of contains all the work. So we are close proximity to the wetland, but the work itself, just the nature of it, kind of keeps it all contained. Almost like I say, working in a bucket or a bathtub once that wall is built, or at least started to be built. So I think that's all I have if you want to take questions.
Okay, thank you very much. Any questions or comments from the commission?
I guess the only question I had was about stockpiles. Will that all fit within that retaining wall, or will there be stockpiles elsewhere?
They're not going to be able to stockpile outside the retaining wall. There's not really enough space. So this is really going to be they'll stockpile when they do this, the tanks, just temporarily in here. But when they do the field itself, it's going to be an excavate, most likely directly to a truck, or temporarily in the driveway and then put it in the truck and take it away. They won't be able to really stockpile on site. So it's going to be essentially excavate out this whole area, ship it off site, and then bring in clean sand, bring in the stone. So everything will just be flipped back and forth. There really won't be any stockpiling allowed on site because we just have no space.
Thank you.
Yep.
I guess from my perspective, the removal of effectively a straight pipe connected to a sanitary fixture to the wetland, the removal of that is a great deal of mitigation in and of itself. With respect to working within the 20-foot no touch and so forth. Any other questions or comments from the commission? Okay, if there's anyone here from the public who wishes to ask a question or offer a comment on the project, please use the raise hand function and we'll promote you up to do that. Doesn't look like there is. I don't know if everyone has had a chance to read through it. Melissa has put together some proposed special conditions. And in the notes that she gave to us, she raised the question of what to do about the remaining sections of the pipes going into the wetland. And wondering whether or not we should condition this any approval on the removal of those pipes. And I just looking at it quickly, it looks like they don't have a great deal of cover down in that area. I see the inverts of the pipes are 266.5, and
Yep.
you know, back by the concrete wall, we've got a 268, so 1.5 feet of cover. I think removing those pipes is not a huge ask, and I think there's some benefit to it, as Melissa points out. You know, in the future, having a pipe there can, you know, we don't want people connecting into it for one reason or another or whatever, but
Yeah, you could even do it by handwork if you had to.
yeah, I don't think I think it's really a pretty minor
Yep.
operation. So I would recommend that we also add as a condition that those pipes be removed. Beyond that, it looks good to me. If there are no further questions or comments, we have a DEP number on this one. So we'd next be looking for a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Thank you. And is there a second?
Second?
Thank you.
Zulik,
Yes.
Barrington,
Yes.
Barber-Glovsky,
Yes.
Smith.
Yes. Okay, and since the special conditions, for the first three have already been written, and then that fourth that we just discussed, I think we're in a position to issue the order of conditions. If somebody would like to make a motion to issue the order conditioned as discussed and as proposed by Melissa.
So moved.
Thank you. And a second?
Second?
Thank you.
Zulik,
Yes.
Barrington,
Yes.
Barber-Glovsky,
Yes.
Smith.
Yes. All right, Vito, thank you very much for joining us tonight.
Well, thank you. Melissa, do you want me to stick around for Dairy Farm for the certificate of compliance?
Honestly, no.
Okay.
I don't have any
Alright.
issues with it, so you should be good.
Okay. All right. Great. Thank you. All right.
You're
Have a nice
welcome.
night.
All right, next up. 34 Sears Road. In accordance with the Wetlands Protection Act, Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, and the Southborough Wetlands Bylaw, the Southborough Conservation Commission will conduct a public hearing on Thursday, September 11, 2025 at 7:15 p.m. via a virtual Zoom meeting. The commission will consider a notice of intent for a project located at 34 Sears Road, map 64, lot 15, for the applicant Sandra Delbridge. The project description is the construction of a driveway in buffer zone and removal of a pipe within BVW. Okay, I see Mitch Mislanka has joined us this evening. Welcome.
Hey, thank you, Commission. Yep. So Mitch Maslanka with Goddard Consulting, wetland scientist. So I'm here representing the applicant this evening for their proposed work at 34 Sears Road. The applicant Sandra Delbridge. So if it's okay with the Commission, I'll share my screen and go through the project.
Please do.
Great. Okay. Can everybody see the screen there?
Yep.
Awesome. Okay, so this project, you may remember this from an application that was filed with 20 Sears Road. 20 Sears Road had a single family house on the lot that it was struck by lightning, had a fire, and then notice of intent came before the commission to build a new single-family house with some associated work around the house. And behind the house, there was a stream channel, which had historically been piped with a culvert connecting a meadow bordering vegetated wetland to another bordering vegetated wetland. And part of the house's NOI was to daylight that stream channel. And only the portion on 20 Sears Road was able to be daylighted. So now the current homeowner of 20 Sears Road now owns 34 Sears Road. So 34 Sears Road is now going to have a proposed driveway up at the front near Sears Road. And they're also proposing to finish that stream daylighting project. So overall, it's a great project to finally reconnect that natural hydrologic connection between those two BVWs there in the back, while also having the homeowner have their additional section of driveway. Really just makes it easier for them to pull in and out with that front section there. So proposed driveway is not proposing any tree removal. It's within the 100-foot buffer zone, one of those bordering vegetated wetlands, and it's well outside the 20-foot. Erosion control is probably plus or minus 50 feet from the bordering vegetated wetland. Those driveways just over 60 feet away. So that is our stockpile area here. And we also have erosion controls proposed around the stream daylighting project in the back. So to fill you in on DEP comments, they did issue a file number and comments, and the comments were largely about how it was in conjunction with what was going on 20 Sears Road. The site plan that was used was the previously approved plan for 20, and it just got added onto with this July 21st, 2025 revision date. So that's why DEP may have been a little confused with why there is so much going on this site. And so I think if order conditions just has a strong, findings of fact, small paragraph just saying the only additional work for this NOI is really just going to be the driveway and the additional stream daylighting project, I don't foresee them having an issue in appealing. So that's DEP's comments. Also, Melissa issued an agent report, which was great. I'll pull that up too. I have DEP's comments there too. Get her comments up here. So the project description is construction of a driveway within buffer zone, removal of within the BVW. Wetland boundaries were reviewed and approved under an ORAD. Proposed driveway construction and pipe removal is complementary to the construction of a new single-family home under that file number. So yep, we concur with all of that. No trees will be removed. Agreed. Removal and restoration of the channel should be consistent with the methods and approvals outlined in that other DEP file number. We're totally good with that. That's our intent. Number 6 and 7, we actually just submitted a report to Melissa today to nail this home to say, yes, we are going to do this. So Highbush Blueberry and Winterberry were proposed and required along the stream banks under that file number. The commission should discuss a condition and or a requirement. Plantings are continued in the same pattern for the completion of the pipe removal. This would be a minimum of 2 Winterberry and 2 Highbush Blueberry shrubs. So my submittal today said, yep, we'll do 3 of each. And I showed a graphic, I'll show you guys in a second, showing where the plantings are proposed. And then number 7, the commission and or applicant should discuss if the use of straw netting is necessary for the stabilization of the slopes of the naturalized channel once the pipe is removed, as was done for the portion of work already completed. That we also addressed and added a note in my letter to say, yes, we want to do that to satisfy the commission. And then commission should condition the work to be consistent with the approvals under the other DEP file number. 100%, we agree. remove the existing riprap and blend the restoration of the stream across the property line to the satisfaction of Concom. Yep, that is fully our intent. 9, commission should condition that the removal be done in low flow or no flow conditions within the stream channel. Agreed, that's the best way to go about it. And commission should condition that the office be notified at least 48 hours prior to the pipe removal. Yep, can do. And then we just discussed the DEP comment. So that sums up my presentation. So let me know if you guys have any questions or comments.
Okay, questions, comments from the commission? So while folks are thinking, the one thing that jumped out at me is that there is the addition of, just in rough terms, it looks like about 1,000 square feet of impervious area. And I didn't see within the notice of intent if that had been addressed, if there's sufficient capacity within the infiltrative measures proposed on the adjacent lot to offset that. Any consideration for doing that? I would say that it looks like one potentially easy solution would be a rain garden type feature between the proposed driveway and Sears Road, but that many other alternatives would exist. But this additional 1,000 feet of impervious appears to not be really mitigated in any way from a stormwater perspective.
Mm-hmm. So just so I wrap my head around the stormwater requirements on this site. So was since I wasn't part of the 20 Sears Road NOI, was that under the Southborough bylaw that it was required?
Yeah, you'll notice there are a number of proposed dry wells. I can see 2 in the current placement of the plan. Yeah, that one, and there's one behind the house to infiltrate rooftop runoff to mitigate the impervious area added to that portion of the site. I will say it's not uncommon for those dry wells to be slightly oversized, and it wouldn't surprise me if some or even all of the proposed, I'm guessing about 1,000 square feet. I didn't, digitize it and pull it up in CAD or anything, but it wouldn't surprise me if some or all of that is mitigated. But I think it's something that does need to be addressed. If none of it has been mitigated, I think there are, easier paths forward than subsurface infiltration. For instance, some grading with a rain garden type of installation, I think would, at first glance, might be the easiest path forward, but there are many, many options. Others have used a stone trench adjacent to a driveway.
And just to jump in, sorry to interject. I think there was that calculation done on the plan under the drywall detail for the new driveway.
Does it include the?
Yeah, the new driveway for the increase in impervious.
Okay, you know what? Here, I was looking through the NOI for some sort of, drainage section, and right in front of my face, I managed to miss it.
Only because I remember talking with Bob Moss on site about Cornerstone having done the calculations to make sure, and I knew it was somewhere.
Okay, great.
I know it was a topic of conversation and something that was brought up.
Okay, could you scroll up just a little bit upwards, just above the Coltech? There we go. Thank you. Okay, so my apologies. It was all right there in the plan. Usually we have some sort of, even a small drainage report within the NOI document itself, but there it is. So forget everything I said. It's been addressed.
Awesome.
So with that, any questions or comments from the commission? Okay, if anyone has joined us from the public this evening who would like to ask a question or offer a comment on this project, please use the raise hand function and we will promote you right up to do that. Okay, it does not look like there are. Again, Melissa has put together a number of proposed special conditions. Any comments on those, requests for changes or additional conditions, or are we generally comfortable?
So the only thing I did change was the number of plantings and to reflect the updated sketch that Goddard provided today.
Okay,
So that's the only change that I put in there.
okay. All right, so if there are no comments, then we are looking for a motion to close the public hearing for 34 Sears Road.
So moved.
Thank you. And is there a second?
Second.
Thank you.
Zulik,
Okay, I couldn't get off mute for some reason, but I figured it out. Yes.
Barrington,
Yes.
Barber-Yaglowski,
Yes.
Smith.
Yes. Okay, and because we have the proposed special conditions right here, I think we're in a position to issue an order. Would somebody like to make a motion to issue an order of conditions conditioned as proposed by Melissa?
So moved.
Thank you. And is there a second?
On you, Tanner.
Second.
Thank you.
Zulik,
Yes.
Barrington.
Yes.
Barber-Yaglowski,
Yes.
Smith.
Yes.
All right.
Great. Thank you very much, Commissioner. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Mitch. Have a great night.
Right back at you.
Let's see here. Okay, next up, another notice of intent, 26 Granuel Road. In accordance with the Wetlands Protection Act, Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, and the Southborough Wetlands Bylaw, the Southborough Conservation Commission will conduct a public hearing on Thursday, September 11, 2025 at 7:00 p.m. via virtual Zoom meeting. The commission will consider a notice of intent for a project located at 26 Granuel Road, map 50, lot 16, for the applicant and owner, Sean and Julie Conley. The project description is construction of a garage addition. Okay, I see the Conleys here. Welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Let's see. Melissa, you want to just give us a quick overview?
Yes. So as stated, this is the addition of a garage in existing lawn area. I believe they have gone through ZBA already to get their
Correct.
variance because it will be within the setback. The site has some topography constraints. There's a big piece of rock/ledge in the back. So it is within the 100-foot buffer zone of this property. So this house was an existing house that was then split up, that has the newer homes alongside it on Brigham in Granuel, but this is the existing home. It is outside the riverfront area, so we weren't concerned with any of the 10% thresholds. It is just within the 100-foot buffer zone. You know, pretty standard in terms of the proposal. They will be extending the driveway to get to it since it is a garage. And we do not have a DEP number yet, but we are working on it.
Okay, thank you. Oh. Oh, boy. Sorry. Any questions, comments, concerns from the commission?
So just one. I noticed that there were proposed hay bales on the plan for erosion controls. Are those, I thought we were staying away from hay bales, but that's,
Oh,
maybe my memory's failing me.
Yes, it'll be conditioned straw, but it's okay that it's on the plan.
Okay.
okay.
Yep.
And Melissa, it's, you pointed out in your comments that the commission may want to consider requiring a dry well to offset the additional impervious area within the buffer zone. And this is something that we do pretty much universally with notices of intent that add impervious area within the buffer zone. Thoughts on this from the commission? Yeah, I generally, you know, any project that comes before us with the addition of impervious area, you know, including the last one where I was a little bit overzealous there, not having seen it on the plan, but you know, the commission has historically always required this. Melissa, it sounded like you had an idea for a lower impact way of achieving this.
Just with, you know, literally probably when they are building the garage, they just kind of dig a pit next to the side and connect the downspouts in kind of that pit with some stone so that it has some filtration in it. Another option would be putting kind of the trench alongside the driveway. Usually a 1 by 1 foot type trench is usually sufficient with appropriately sized stone. So it's a relatively simple, kind of easy and cheap option and easy to maintain.
Yeah, you know, either of those would be, in my eyes, absolutely fine. Using the stone trench along the edge of the driveway has become sort of increasingly common here as a strategy to address this. But the decision of what path to take there, I think Mr. and Mrs. Conley we would leave that to you. Because there is no DEP number, we can't act on this tonight. And if you wanted to speak with your contractor and try to, you know, value engineer and find the easiest path forward, the cheapest path forward, I think you know, over the next 3 weeks you could do that. And I think if there are any questions, Melissa is available to help out there. Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm a little confused as what the next step is.
Oh, so we can't, because we can't act on this tonight without the DEP file number. We can't
Okay.
issue an order of conditions anyhow. So I just point that out just to stress that, you know, we're not costing you time on the schedule here, but the whenever impervious area, that is area where rainwater can't soak into the ground, is added within the buffer zone, the commission always requests that some means be put in to allow that infiltration to take place. And one of the most common ways is along the edge of a new driveway, putting a 1 foot wide by 1 foot deep trench that's filled with crushed stone that water can run off the driveway into this trench and then soak into the ground.
Yep.
That's generally the least expensive way to do it. But if you have a contractor you're working with, they may have better ideas or some sort of preference. So we have 3 weeks for you to have that conversation, and Melissa is a very valuable resource too, if you have any questions. And I think that would put us in a position where we can absolutely act on this and issue an order of conditions at our next meeting.
Okay,
yeah, we should be able to
Melissa's been
talk to our,
helpful.
yeah, we can talk to our contractor and pull something together easily enough, probably using the driveway method.
Okay, yeah, and you know, it's a single family home. You know, I don't think we need to see a full-on plan revision. I think this is something we can probably condition, just to make it a little bit easier in that regard. We would just, you know, put a textual description in the conditions of an order of conditions.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay. So with that, any further questions or concerns from the commission? Okay, and is there anyone here from the public who's joined us tonight would like to ask a question or offer a comment on this project? If so, please use the raise hand function. It does not look like there is. Okay, so with that, we just need to continue this hearing until our next public meeting. Would somebody like to make that motion?
So moved.
Thank you. And is there a second?
Second,
Thank you.
Zulik,
Yes.
Barrington,
yes.
Barbary Gillespie,
Yes.
Smith.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank
Okay,
you.
so thank you for joining us tonight, and we'll see you in 3 weeks.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Good night. Okay. Next up, the Lotasquama and Boston Road rights of way. In accordance with the Wetlands Protection Act, Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, and the Southborough Wetlands Bylaw, the Southborough Conservation Commission will conduct a continued public hearing on Thursday, September 11, 2025 at 7:25 p.m. via virtual Zoom meeting. The commission will consider a notice of intent for a project located within the right-of-way of Lotasquama Road and Boston Road for the applicant New England Power Company. The project description is the replacement of utility poles and construction and improvement of access roads. Mr. Cole, Mr. Kelly, welcome.
Hey, good evening.
Good evening.
Okay, would you want to give us just a very quick overview of where we stand here?
Absolutely. So we had introduced this project during the July 31st meeting. Just a quick synopsis. So this is a structure, an asset replacement of an existing 115 kV line. So we have select structure replacements between the Northborough Road substation and the Sudbury Reservoir Dam. So essentially a 5 mile existing transmission line with select structure replacements. There are existing wood and steel on this line. The wood structures will be replaced with light duty steel, and a couple of existing steel structures will be replaced essentially in kind. At some of the longer crossings, the longer conductor spans. The project itself is essentially a maintenance activity under the Wetland Protection Act and the local bylaw. However, there are some activities, including access road improvements and access spurs, construction of new access spurs in the 100-foot buffer zone is the reason why this notice of intent was filed. So since the first public hearing on the 31st, DEP has issued a file number. They had essentially no comments. They had one comment on the project regarding the lack of identifying impacts that are not subject to this notice of intent. But to correct that, we did submit a second WPA 3 form that addressed that. And additionally, there was a third-party review for this project, which we responded to comments in that review back in August. So I believe those should be addressed as well. Beyond that, we're open to discuss and take any questions.
Hey, thank you very much. And of course, I raised the comment last time. I had not seen included with the NOI documentation the booklet of erosion and control BMPs that you had included. And obviously, it's very complete. And I know you'll be coordinating BMPs with Melissa, and I'm entirely comfortable with that scenario. With that, questions, comments, concerns from the commission? Okay, it sounds like all of the comments, peer review comments have been addressed, and we're in pretty good shape here. Before I forget, there's anyone here from the public who's joined us tonight who wishes to ask a question or make a comment on this project, please use the raise hand function and we'll promote you up to do that. Okay, it doesn't look like there's anybody. So I think we're in a position to close the public hearing, and after that to issue an order of conditions. So first up, is there a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Thank you. And is there a second?
Okay.
Thank you. What's that?
I was on mute, sorry.
Oh,
Zulik,
okay.
Yes.
Barrington,
Yes.
Barbara Iglesky,
Yes.
Smith.
Yes. And okay, and once again, Melissa has put together some proposed special conditions that capture the discussion that's taken place. And if there are no comments or questions about these, next up, we're looking for a motion to issue an order of conditions conditioned as proposed by Melissa.
Ben, the
So
only
moved.
other
Oh,
thing,
go ahead.
sorry, Liz, sorry, that I had thought of was just that once they have the project schedule, to forward that to us so that we can be notified when the construction mats are installed and removed. And just for the record, the other ones were just comments from DCR about the construction mats being washed, and just forwarding the copy of the temporary access permit once you have it. And then working with Trails Committee, which you kind of have already done through Julia, which has been great.
Okay, Mr. Kelly, I see you nodding affirmatively. Those three conditions are acceptable to you?
Yes, I believe those are acceptable. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's see, I'm now looking for a motion to issue an order of conditions, conditioned as proposed by Melissa and discussed during this hearing.
So moved.
Thank you. And is there a second?
Second.
Thank you.
Zulik,
Yes.
Barrington,
Yes.
Barbara Iglesky,
Yes.
Smith.
Yes. Great. Thank you very much for joining us this evening.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
You too.
Thank you.
Wow. How many notices have we had tonight? 6. I think we're closing in on our 7th notice of intent for this evening. 3 Bridge Street. In accordance with the Wetlands Protection Act, Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, and the Southborough Wetlands Bylaw, the Southborough Conservation Commission will conduct a continued public hearing on Thursday, September 11, 2025 at 7:30 p.m. via a virtual Zoom meeting. The commission will consider a notice of intent for a project located at 3 Bridge Street, Map 2, Lot 33, for the applicant and owner Barry Thompson. The project description is replacement of a failed septic system. Mr. Schofield, welcome. If you're trying to speak, you're still muted.
Am I good now?
Yes, welcome.
And my video, sorry, I
Oh,
apologize. There we go. Okay, very good. David Schofield back again, continuation of the hearing that was some time ago for 3 Bridge Street, replacement of the existing septic system. I revised the plans in accordance with the comments from your consultant. We slid the plan slightly, the best we can, right to the edge of the asphalt, the septic system, to try to minimize the fill within the riverfront area. I looked at options to try to minimize the fill, and The one I had was to take out a parking area where he stored a boat, and then I went over and surveyed the location, and I found that it was not really on his property, but more on the town property. So there wasn't a lot of, without doing a real, significant amount of regrading right up basically to the wetland, there wasn't a great area to get back the 20 plus cubic yards of material. So while we've addressed the other issues that were raised, the one that remains really the major issue is the fill within the riverfront. And we utilized an IA system to reduce the elevation and horizontal proximity, as well as putting in a impermeable barrier to reduce grading. But there was the two things that are requiring the fill are probably about 10 cubic yards each, one for the septic tank just by the elevation required, and another 10 yards for the leaching field. So that is the issue. I have the plan here, if you revised plan. Share the screen. I'll show you. Sorry. Okay. Can you see this?
Not yet.
I'm
Doesn't
sharing
appear to have
my
been shared
screen.
yet. There we go. We've got it.
Okay, good enough. Let me zoom in. Zoom into the appropriate location. Okay, well, sorry, I want to get this further up so you can get a better view, really what's going on. So
There we go.
the Sudbury River is at the bottom of the screen. Sorry, this is running bananas. 20-foot no work zone, which we added here, and then 50-foot offset from the BVW. The existing driveway is here and right to there. We literally moved the system right to the edge of the driveway and moved it as far that way as possible. The limit of the floodplain is coming right about through here. So this from this neighboring garage right across the blue line here is just about the limit of the floodplain's actually up here. I apologize. It's right here. Comes across like that. So there is some fill within it. I don't have a lot of great other options available to me. We took a 2-foot reduction in groundwater already, a 40% reduction in footprint area at the leaching facility, and the minimum size tank required, which is 1,500 gallons at the elevation required. So that was the calculus, and I didn't have a lot of other options without completely either disrupting trying to get back limited fill down in this area here, or really kind of blowing up their property and going out under the existing, ripping up the driveway and going out that way. So that was basically, those are my options available to me. So we're seeking a waiver of the fill within the floodplain of approximately 22 yards.
Okay. Thank you very much. Questions, comments, concerns from the commission? I'll start off. I understand it is an extremely tight site elevation wise. I can see you're sort of backed yourself as far into the corner as you can. We can waive the requirement for compensatory storage within a floodplain, provided that there's some other mitigation. the biggest mitigation that I see is replacing a cesspit with an actual Title V compliant septic system, especially considering its adjacency to the Sudbury River. So in my mind, that goes a long way towards mitigation. With respect to other elements of the Wetlands Protection Act, a demonstration of no impact to the resource area, I have found in the past in my own practice to be helpful in these situations. So would you feel comfortable with the issuance of a stamped letter that these alterations will not cause the increase in flood elevation, greater than 1/100th of a foot?
Oh, yes.
Okay. So for my part, the mitigation with the removal of the cesspool, cesspit, as well as an affirmation from the engineer that there will be no adverse impact to the floodplain. And this is, in my experience, is commonly shown with a statement from the engineer that the flood elevation within this section of the floodplain will not be caused to increase by greater than 1/100th of a foot. That makes sense to everybody?
Mhm.
Any questions or comments or concerns about that?
Yeah, just I agree that, replacing the septic so close to the river, I think is a great benefit. And yeah, that's enough for me.
Thank you. Yeah, and we always have to be cognizant of future applications that come along. And I think that is my biggest reason for Mr. Schofield looking for that letter. We don't want to open the door to waiving, fill within the floodplain.
Right.
Without very good reason and without a demonstration, that it's not going to cause an adverse impact. So with that being said, if there's anyone here from the public who has joined us this evening who would like to ask a question or offer a comment on this project, please use the raise hand function and we'll promote you up to do that. Okay, I don't see anybody. I believe we could condition this notice of intent that one of the conditions will be that the project engineer will submit that letter as discussed. That in combination with the proposed special condition from Melissa, which discusses the mitigation of removing the cesspool and putting in a compliant Title V system. I think we've got everything we need. And we do have a DEP number on this. Yes. So with that, looking first for a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Thank you. And a second.
Second?
Thank you.
Zulik,
Yes.
Barrington,
Yes.
Barber-Iglesky,
Yes.
Smith.
Yes. Okay, and next up, looking
Thank
for a
you.
motion. Oops, we're looking for a motion to issue an order of conditions as proposed by Melissa and as discussed here this evening in the public hearing.
So moved.
Thank you. And is there a second?
Second?
Thank you.
Zulik,
Yes.
Barrington.
Yes.
Barber-Iglesky,
Yes.
Smith.
Yes. Great.
Perfect.
Okay. Let's see. Next up, a request for determination of applicability. The right-of-way within the MBTA commuter rail. In accordance with the Wetlands Protection Act, Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Southborough Conservation Commission will conduct a continued public hearing on Thursday, September 11, 2025 at 7:35 p.m. via a virtual Zoom meeting. The commission will consider a request for determination of applicability for a project located within the right-of-way for the MBTA commuter rail for the applicant Keolis Commuter Services. The project description is confirmation of resource area boundaries. And it sounds like we've not received any additional information from the applicant.
Correct. They are here, Ben.
Oh, they are. I'm sorry, I didn't see you there, Mr. Donovan. Welcome, and would you like to just give us a quick overview of where you're at?
Yeah, I would love to. So I'm Matt Donovan from Benish. I'm here to represent Keolis for this RDA to confirm the accuracy of the maps used for vegetation management on the commuter rail right-of-way. This RDA is submitted to your commission every 5 years as part of CMR 11 and is required to get these determinations before submitting the vegetation management plan to Mass Department of Agricultural Resources. The vegetation management plan is designed to control vegetation necessary to keep the railroad in operation safe, and there are regulations in place to keep the sensitive areas protected throughout the duration of the plan. The maps we provide you with are mainly made for the chemical portion of the plan, but often dictate where mechanical measures will take place due to chemical restrictions. Each year, there are 2 main chemical applications, one in the May to June timeframe that targets the roadbed of the track, and this is, I think I just switched the screen to the roadbed treatment. And then one in the August-September timeframe that targets the brush in the areas adjacent to the roadbed, so further away from the roadbed than what you see here. The blue and yellow areas marked with on the maps will never receive the brush program and will only receive this roadbed treatment that you're seeing here as far as chemical application goes. So that's what I'll focus on. If you do have any questions about the brush program, I'd be happy to answer those. So the roadbed application is performed by the spray truck, equipped with nozzles on the backside, spraying the solution directly down onto the track, and extends out to the shoulders of the track up to 12 feet from the center line of the track. There's a certified applicator, always accompanied by an environmental monitor when they're performing this work, equipped with these maps, instructing the operator as necessary. There are markings in the field that right directly on the tracks that correspond to the markings that you see on the maps. And I'll switch back to the maps now. The applicator can turn those nozzles off with the flip of the switch as they go down the track if they hit a yellow zone, or in many cases, just the side nozzles where it's targeting the shoulder where it may be getting closer to the buffer zone of a sensitive area. The yellow zones will never receive treatment to the shoulders. However, they may still spray directly down onto the ties, done at the environmental monitor and applicator's discretion to keep it within conformance of the setbacks. The blue zones typically receive the full roadbed treatment on a 1-year basis, and the dark blue zones will receive the full roadbed treatment at a 2-year interval in conformance with the regulations. Due to the limited chemicals in these blue and yellow areas, more effort is put into controlling the vegetation with mechanical measures, especially adjacent in the areas adjacent to the track where it does not receive that brush program. The chemicals used each year are always going to come from the right-of-way sensitive area material list provided by Mass Department of Agricultural Resources, specifically for right-of-ways. And we do include that mixture to your commission every year in the yearly operational plan that we submit via certified mail to your commission, the Board of Health, Mass Department of Agricultural Resources, and others. I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have. We are seeking a positive 2A determination for the confirmation of the maps and a negative 2 and 5 determination for the work that's included in the vegetation management plan, as your commission has issued in the past. There are no changes to the maps or the markings since the previous time your commission has approved this. So I'm happy to open the floor up to the commission and answer any questions you may have.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Donovan. First, questions, comments, concerns from the commission? Melissa, I see that in your notes to us, you've suggested that the hearing be continued. Is there a piece of information we're waiting on, or?
So the last correspondence we had was requesting additional information on those areas that we were wondering, why. I think there are just some couple close areas and additional photographs. The commission wanted at least additional photographs, if not some sort of virtual visit to look at these areas. So I haven't had any correspondence since we had requested that information. So that's kind of the suggestion. That was why the suggestion was made.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry. I that must have snuck by me somehow. I didn't realize you were waiting on information.
Yeah, we followed up a couple times. So that's kind of
Oh
what-
shoot. Sorry about that. I would be happy to share some photographs. You sent me the locations?
Yeah, I highlighted a couple areas. I'm happy to forward it again.
If you don't mind forwarding me that email, that would be definitely beneficial. I can get someone to take pictures tomorrow, likely, or early next week.
Absolutely.
Okay, so, and that would be great if it were that early. Our next meeting is in 3 weeks, and assuming the photos, show the complete area and answer our questions, we'd be in a position to issue a negative determination at our next meeting, I suspect.
Okay, would there be any way to condition that and still receive a determination? Or I think what's happening I think it's a very wide roadbed in these areas, which is likely, I guess I'm not even sure what areas were the areas of concern, so I don't want to speak, but I would be happy to. Okay.
Ben, would that be okay?
I guess I would.
It still might not solve the issue, but at least you can show.
Yeah, I
the-
guess if it's possible to maybe look, and then if it could be as a condition, to take pictures and make any necessary changes to the maps. But if not, if that's not an option, then maybe it wouldn't be worth the time to look at those areas. But I would be happy to work with Melissa to fine tune these in any way she sees fit.
I guess, so to the commission, I would say, yeah, one path forward we could take is, were we to issue a negative determination tonight, conditioned upon first, the previously requested photographs being supplied to our agent, and second, that Melissa, be empowered to, acting on our behalf, request changes to the chemical or mechanical means of brush removal. I think that's one path forward that I see. It sounds like what you're describing, Mr. Donovan.
That's kind of what I was describing. And like I said, these markings have been confirmed in the past, but we are willing to make little adjustments if it's within the in conformance with the setback regulations. But I don't think that will be the case. I don't think any changes to the markings will be required, but I think pictures will definitely satisfy, at least give a reasoning why they're marked the way they are.
Melissa, is that something that you would feel comfortable with, or would you like for the commission to review this?
While I'm comfortable with reviewing it, I am hesitant to offer that solution only because you cannot, your motion will be to approve the boundaries. You can't rescind that with an RDA. You can't change that. So that's my only hesitation.
Okay.
That's okay then. When is the next meeting?
October 2nd.
We have so many of these that I just want to make sure. Okay. That should work for me. If I think that would definitely sounds like the more comfortable path forward. So, should we just plan on that?
Yeah, I think it is, unless anyone in the commission feels differently. I think that is that's the correct way to move forward.
And if there are any other questions regarding the work or anything other than the maps in those few areas, you can feel free to ask now. But it sounds like really the only thing we're hung up on is those couple spots on the maps, the markings.
I think so. So, I think it sounds like you will be able to get these pictures forwarded quickly, and I don't see why we wouldn't be in a position at our next meeting to issue the negative determination and the boundary approval.
Okay.
So, my God, I can't remember. Did I open this up to public comment?
No, I think.
No, I don't think I have this one. If anyone from the public has joined us here this evening and wishes to ask a question or offer a comment on this project, please use the raise hand function and we'll promote you up so you can do that. Okay, it doesn't look like anyone's here to ask questions. So with that, we've got a plan going forward. We just need a motion to continue this public hearing.
So moved.
Thank you. And is there a second?
Second.
Thank you.
Zulik,
Yes.
Barrington,
Yes.
Barbary-Glusky.
Yes.
Yes.
All right, Matt, and I sent those highlighted sections over to you, so you should have them.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. I'll be in touch. Have a good night, everyone.
You too. Okay, those are all the public hearings. Holy, 6 NOIs and 2 RDAs in an hour and 15 minutes.
A record.
All right, so new and/or continued business. Okay, yeah, 8 Dairy Farm Lane, request for a COC. And it sounds like they've gotten that buttoned up. And
Yes, absolutely.
yeah, Melissa has reviewed it and suggested that we issue the COC. And if there are no questions, I'm just looking for a motion to issue it.
So moved.
Thank you. And is there a second?
Zulik,
Yes.
Barrington,
Yes.
Barbary-Glusky.
Yes.
Smith.
Yes. Okay, so next up, Ken's invasive species removal request. I've actually noticed this driving down Route 9. This is the large drainage ditch across the front of the property is filled with invasives. And I have to say, with the project that they did a few years ago and all the plantings that they've done, Ken's is really, I've been impressed with their, the focus they put on both native plantings and trying to keep invasives under control. So I'm happy to see that this request come through. And it sounds like they have proposed the invasives removal in a responsible way using current best practices. Melissa has put together for the purposes of an administrative amendment to the notice of intent, a series of conditions to make sure that the work is done according to the best practices. I see Mr. Novick, are you a representative of Ken's? Oh, your microphone is off. Or you're muted.
There we go.
There
Am I
we go.
on now?
Yes, welcome.
Okay. Yeah, hi everybody. Yeah, I'm working with Justin at J&J. He's the contractor, landscape contractor, who's done a lot of work on the site over the years, and I'm working with him both on that sort of the habitat and pollinator, natural meadow area in the back, and then on this proposal to sort of improve the situation there along that road strip. So I guess I'm a consultant to the project. So
Great. Well, thank you very much, and thank you for joining us here this evening. So Melissa, I see that you've put a lot of effort into reviewing the proposal, and it sounds like with the help of a few carefully crafted conditions, we're in a good place to see the work done.
I think so. I think it'll be a great benefit. I did talk with Justin from J&J quickly this morning just to talk about how to remove the Phragmites. At first, they were thinking of using kind of a brush hog mower and putting it on the highest settings and grinding them down, but I've recommended doing it by hand. So a lot of them are kind of in the middle of that wetland area. So they were fine with that. What needs to be done, they'll do. So that was kind of the biggest, just having the license applicator forward to us before. And then I think the real game changer would kind of having a more integrated report about the dominance of some of those invasives and just kind of where they are generally so that we can determine the efficacy of the program in the next couple years. So I think between that, it should be pretty, easy just to kind of put together a general narrative should be more than fine about the general locations and the dominance rates of those. And then just so we have something to compare to in the next 2 years.
yeah, I can certainly do that. I mean, the proposal is based on just, a few initial sort of cursory, examinations of the site. I'm going to guess that, I mean, Phragmites is the sort of single, most dominant species of all the invasives. There aren't all that many of other things. And I'm going to guess the frag maybe occupies 20% of the area, maybe. There's a few larger stands and then some other mixed in with other things. And the technique would vary, we'd sort of, the stands where it's dominant and there's very other little vegetation of any kind mixed in, let alone, native and beneficial, those would sort of get cut wholesale. And then rather than try to spray them in the fall is the most opportune time to do it in terms of efficacy. But the stands are so tall and, we're sort of concerned about, limiting the collateral damage. So what I suggested, and I think it's what we're going to do, is cut everything now, allow it to regrow in the spring, and then when it's somewhat shorter, do the herbicide application. And actually fairly dilute solutions work pretty well. You can use like a 1.5 to 2% solution. And that should effectively, if not eliminate those, severely set them back, by the, summer of next year. And then where it's mixed in with other things that we want to, not damage the other plants, we can hand cut those and sort of, do a cut stem treatment of a more concentrated herbicide, and that eliminates any sort of overspray issues. So, yeah, but I can certainly kind of draw up, a rough map of, where the, the larger stands are and sort of I can do a scaled map, and get that to you.
Great. Okay, so questions, comments, concerns from the commission?
Just a comment, I've been watching those Phragmites for, I can't tell you how long, so I'm very happy to see this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I noticed it as we were working on the other project, and I'm going, geez, there's some opportunity here to, improve the habitat, get rid of the invasives and, to make it somewhat more attractive, just for,
Right.
The property owner's sake. So, yeah, and on as you all probably know, it's not sort of a one and done situation, and the initial control will happen over the first 3 years, and then once we get control of it, it'll be monitored, and we can go in every so often and catch the new infestations, which are bound to happen because the adjacent wetland area to the east is even more infested with Phragmites. So,
Yep.
but that's beyond the property line. So,
Okay, so it looks like we are then waiting for some updates here. Talk about putting a plan together to sort of fine tune what we're expecting. And I think that would put us in a position to vote to approve an administrative amendment at our next meeting on October 2nd. That sound like a plan?
Yeah, I mean, as long as you guys, unless you wanted to condition it, this one, ironically, I'm more okay with you guys conditioning. I think all of us have a pretty good visual of where these areas are. I think it's just documenting those dominance rates.
Okay, so I think Mr. Novak, you proposed putting together a plan showing a little more detail. We could condition perhaps an approval of the administrative amendment this evening, if I understand right, Melissa. And as part of that, simply add one condition that prior to the beginning of work, that plan will be submitted to Melissa for her review. Does that sound?
And the primary content of that would be just to sort of indicate the approximate locations of the major stands of the invasives and their location?
Yeah, and I think so. There are a couple of different strategies that will be used depending on the severity of a particular, density here or there. So perhaps calling that out, and just sort of giving the overall game plan for the initial attack and the pursuant management of
Yeah, I think what you just said, I think, is included in the existing proposal, but I can certainly talk to Melissa later, and if there's more specifics to add there, we can modify that. Because what I heard was like some sort of like a visual map of the locations and approximate extent of the sort of larger infestations.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
and there's no map, or there's no visual in the proposal that I wrote up, so I can certainly add that.
That sounds great. Melissa, that works for you?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, so with that, just looking for a motion to issue an administrative amendment to the order of conditions previously issued at the Ken's Food property, conditioned as proposed by Melissa and discussed here this evening in this public meeting.
So moved.
Thank you. And is there a second?
Second?
Zulik,
Yes.
Barrington,
Yes.
Barbary Glowski.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Thank you, Nick.
Oh, thank you all. Appreciate it.
Thank you for joining us. Have a good night.
Yeah, you as well.
Thank you. Okay, next up, another request for COC for 120 Turnpike Road. I see, Melissa, you have noted here that no action tonight. We're still waiting for some work to be finished.
Yep.
Okay. Next up. Oh boy. Oh, that's right. Sorry, I was confusing this with another one. Enforcement order for 250 Turnpike Road for the stream restoration plan. Where are we?
We just got the latest review from Lucas. Essentially all comments had been resolved. There was just a few that like Goddard had provided in the narrative that just should be shown on the actual plan.
Okay.
So I think we're at a point where we can approve, the plan for the restoration of the stream, with the condition that final plan, that is shown. I'm trying to remember what specific thing it was on the review. It's like a notation. It wasn't an actual construction part of the plan.
Oh,
It was
okay.
just a note. It was a
Okay.
detail. So that be provided prior. And then just evidence from DEP that a 401 water quality cert isn't needed. That was Lucas's last comment, just to verify.
That it is not needed, okay.
Correct, yep.
Okay, so we could approve the plan, conditioned upon the note requested by Lucas Environmental, it be added to the plan, submitted to you for your review prior to beginning the work of the plan.
Correct.
What do folks think?
Sounds like a way forward.
Okay. I see a representative of the property owner here, Mr. Bannon. It sounds like we've got a path forward here, but if you have any questions, comments, please.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Thank you, Melissa. No, I have nothing to add. We were expecting the plan to be approved and endorsed today, and we'll follow through with it. Thank you.
Okay, great. That sounds great. So with that, I see a raised hand, Mr. Palmer. Melissa, could you promote Mr. Palmer up? Good evening. Mr. Palmer? It does not look like you're muted, but for some reason we can't hear you if you're speaking.
Let me see. Can you hear me?
There we go. Yep, that's great. We can hear you now. Welcome.
Hey, question for the board, the commission. It's my understanding that the wetland study commissioned and conducted in 2022 delineated wetlands and a tributary, perhaps this stream, that are in the Sudbury River Reservoir watershed. And you know, the question I have for the board, has the commission made the Board of Health aware of these wetlands on the property? And is the Board of Health then responsible for making sure that the applicant files a variance with Mass DEP as it relates to Title V, and even with the EPA as it relates to the Clean Waters Act? It's
so
more of a procedural question on where we stand with all of that.
So I can at least answer that. I have been in contact with Dennis Consello, our septic inspector, and reviewing the wetland delineation to ensure that the plan that they are reviewing is the same wetland delineation that we have approved. So yes.
And so then is it that their responsibility then to make sure that the applicant files for the correct variances with Mass DEP?
If they are needed and it's a Title V requirement, then yes.
Okay. I'm just wondering why that hasn't happened as of yet. It's my understanding that we're, you know, across the ZBA and across these various boards, we haven't asked the applicant to apply for those variances.
They what we can say, and I don't know why the applicant hasn't done that yet, but they are not able to construct any kind of a septic system until they have received approval from the Board of Health, which would involve you know, requesting any variances that it would take to get the system installed. They simply can't build it until that happens. So,
and I also, sorry to jut in, we are just talking about this enforcement order. We're not on the 40B yet, which I think what Mr. Palmer is getting to.
Yeah, but it does kind of relate to the enforcement order, because the enforcement order is to restore that stream to its original condition, right?
yes, regardless of what happened to the stream and the subsequent restoration, the wetland boundary isn't altered, is not altered by this. So you know, the wetland boundary hasn't been pushed back in any way. I just want to assure you on that, if that's what your concern is.
Okay, I just want to make sure of that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's been, the wetland boundary is memorialized on a plan And it has been reviewed by our consultant from Lucas Environmental, and and found to be an accurate representation of what's on the ground. And that record isn't going anywhere. And the applicant has to live with that delineation.
And so just to clarify, so that is these wetlands and that tributary are part of the watershed then, right?
I do want to jump in here quickly only because there's difference in tributary under the Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act and Title V. So tributary in the sense of the septic setbacks have a different definition of connection. It has to be defined. It can't be just temporary overland flow. So under the Wetlands Protection Act, yes, these are outstanding resource waters. That doesn't necessarily mean they're a tributary under Title V. So that determination relies with the Board of Health. And I know that they've been working through that with the applicant and themselves reaching out to DEP and DCR. So they'll have that information.
Melissa, while I understand what you're saying, I don't quite agree. If it's I understood it as if it's a tributary, then it's subject to Title V regulations.
Correct, but not necessarily every wetland on this property is directly tributary, and that's what they're getting to with the septic on the 40B locus in the definition of Title V.
Okay. I'll stand down. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Thank you for joining us this evening, Mr. Palmer. So as Melissa said, we are here focusing on a very narrow issue here on the site of 250 Turnpike, and that is the enforcement order issued by the commission for the restoration of this stream. And it sounds like the plan prepared and proposed by the applicant is complete with the exception of one note as proposed by Lucas Environmental. And if there are no further questions or comments from the commission, I think what we're looking for is a motion to approve the enforcement order resolution plan with the condition that the work may not begin until the note previously discussed has been added to the plan and the plan submitted to Melissa for verification. So that was a long way of saying I'm looking for a motion.
Moved.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you.
Zulik,
Yes.
Barrington,
Yes.
Barber-Iglesky,
Yes.
Smith.
Yes. Great. Next up, we have a request for a certificate of compliance for 20 and 22 Turnpike Road.
Yes, so this is both the original order of conditions for the construction of the self-storage in the golf facility and the new NOIs that were opened to rectify the issues that were brought up that were in non-compliance from the original approvals. So Lucas Environmental had done another round of reviews, called out some supplementary materials that needed to be submitted, including making sure all the plantings were there, invasive information was submitted. And so far they went out again, all the planted plants within some of the wetland areas, because it was pretty overgrown, had been flagged and counted. I think there was one dead that needs to be replaced that will be or has been. And the invasive removal report was also submitted. So I am comfortable with recommending issue the COCs for all 4 of these with the condition that, the 1 year remaining for the invasive removal monitoring report be submitted by the end of 2026 to cover the 2026 growing season, and invasive removal plan. So yes, I think other than that, everything seemed to be growing in well. You know, if anything, they were hard to find because things had kind of multiplied. So that was good. I think as long as they keep on top of their invasive removal and following the proper protocols with cutting and directly applying, which they did do this year, we should hopefully see a much more reduction in those invasives.
Fantastic. Any questions or comments from the commission? All right, I'm glad to see that things are progressing at this site. It kind of stalled there for a while, and things are moving along, which is great. So if there are no questions or concerns, I was looking for a motion as written here by Melissa. To issue the COC with the condition of 1 additional year of invasive monitoring to be supplied to the commission.
So moved.
And the second?
Second.
Thank you.
Zulik,
Yes.
Farrington,
Yes.
Barbary Glebsky,
Yes.
Smith.
Yes,
Okay.
great. Okay, so Melissa,
Yes.
call on you again for 250 Turnpike comment
Yes.
letter.
And I'm having sudden doubt if I sent you the draft. I'm starting to panic for a second, but I will share what I have. A lot of it, I will warn you now, the first 2 sections are just kind of reiterating the reviews that have already been done. So they are a little redundant, they're a little wordy. So this is the comment letter that I have drafted thus far. This first section is taking comments from Howard Stein Hudson. A lot of it is reiterating the need for a complete revised stormwater report with the complete HydroCAD modeling. They made comments of the revised modeling had been submitted, but not the full revised report. So, you know, calling out that without this information, you cannot determine if it meets the Massachusetts stormwater standards and local regulations. In also stating that the ZBA cannot waive local regulations, which the stormwater standards are. So kind of the same comments regarding the drainage report, reiterating that they are important. This again was a comment from the Howard Stein Hudson regarding the drainage easement from Stars and Stone Way. Conditioning that the test pits will be performed prior to installation, and also stating that this would be a requirement for us under the Wetlands Protection Act, which is common practice. And then a lot about the retaining walls as well, especially those that are directly adjacent to wetland resource areas, as we would require that under the notice of intent as well, especially considering their height and their adjacency within limited amount of feet, especially in the 20-foot buffer zone to some of these units or the resources. Again, the stormwater standards cannot be waived by ZBA. There's still some comments that kind of state like a notice of intent has been submitted or discussed with the commission, so just stating that it has not. And that a SWIP would also need to be approved by the commission prior to construction as part of our requirements, even just under the state regs. Moving on to the Lucas environmental comments, I focused a lot about the vernal pool aspects. So agreeing with the finding that ecological values may be further limited with the proximity of the development to the wetland and vernal pool stated in comment 4. One thing that I was concerned about that I wanted to bring to light was that Goddard calls out that the basin may have limited ecological value in an increasingly developed landscape. So therefore, it's kind of stating that the proximity to increased development may be a detriment to the vernal pool and habitat. Goddard also stated that the vernal pool is not within a state jurisdictional wetland resource area, which it is because those basins are bordering vegetated wetlands. So wanted to make that very clear, that even though on the plans they are labeled as basins, they are BVWs. Reiterating that maintenance on these, quote unquote basins cannot be done without a valid order of condition, and that this basin is on a separate lot, not the 40B locus. So it's not subject to waivers. Therefore, any maintenance in the future would still require a valid order of conditions. And this area serves existing infrastructure and has no function as a basin in relation to this project. For purposes of the comprehensive permit application, the area should be solely referred to as a BVW and vernal pool, which is kind of in, what we've held firm throughout applications.
Yeah.
And I thought that was very important because I think a lot of the documents reference this as a detention basin, but, strictly speaking, it might have been originally constructed that way, but to today's rules and regulations, it is BVW, and we confirmed that through the ORAD. Agreeing with the comments about the height of the crossing and the explanation of limitations. So Lucas made some comments about natural heritage suggest having a 4-foot high crossing. And they have it, I think they went from a 2x2 to a 4x2, but 4 in width, not in height. So thinking about that, that there's already limited undeveloped habitat remaining on site, so additional development would have a negative effect, such as stated in Lucas's comments. Reiterating that most of the wood frogs are entering the site, or are entering the vernal pools from undeveloped portions of the site. And one thing I also was trying to call out was that how the applicant has stated that this pool has low ecological value because of its creation as a detention basin, which may limit the ecological value of the pool. And that current water quality may not negatively affect the species this breeding season, but future water quality could. And this kind of insinuates that the use of the property surrounding it could lead to poor water quality. But as the basin is BVW, if we found that evidence is degrading that water quality within that pool, we technically have a right to evaluate the impacts and require remediation. So that point is kind of moot, and it's coming from off property. So, therefore, negative changes to water quality, we would be obligated to look into to prevent pollution for the purposes and interests of the WP and bylaw. And then further fragmentation from development will further limit the pool's ecological value, and remain firm that the project should be reviewed as to the impacts of the project on the vernal pool in the state that it is today, as future maintenance of the basin must be done in a manner as to not destroy the vernal pool habitat. The impact of the proposed developments shall not be minimized by the potential of poor water quality coming from off-site. Documentation provided by the applicant shows that the basin provides more than adequate conditions for vernal pool species and breeding habitat. And then again, the basin should be viewed and evaluated as a vernal pool within BVW, and it is not entitled to privileges of waivers under 40B. And then just again, concurring with the comments about the crossing, mainly adding additional grates to make sure that appropriate moisture and light reaches the animals who are using it. And then moving into they are proposing a wetland replication area as offset for work within the 20-foot. So this is their kind of mitigation. And they have in there that the area would be staked out by a wetland scientist, but I think it's important, and Lucas did as well, that the area should be staked out by a surveyor just to make sure that the boundary is correct and the appropriate square footage is replicated. If anything contains invasive species, it should not be reused and disposed of. I suggest a condition requiring a pre-construction survey of the area for invasive species if it's not included within an invasive species management plan. An as-built submitted to the commission after completion of the replication area. They also don't talk about access to the site, and it is kind of on the opposite side as work would be happening. So it's very tight to get in there. So asking how access would be provided to make sure that there aren't additional resource area impacts or other cleared areas even within buffer zones. And then a more detailed wetland replication plan. And then, essentially the rest of the letter was kind of comments remain, they still need to be addressed, and stating that that information is required and should be submitted. Then comments that I pulled out, this we've included on every letter to date. The only change that I have added is that that there's been limited changes to the footprint. They have thought about mitigation in terms of the wetland replication area, but the conversion of forested areas to lawn buildings will have a detrimental effect on adjacent wetland resource areas and habitat. And that we have previously requested and worked with applicants on 40B projects for redesigns for compliance with the bylaw, such as Park Central and Madison Place applications, which is very important to call out. This isn't an abnormal request. We do this every time, and in circumstances it has been provided. Again, there are many outstanding comments from both peer reviewers that pose questions as to regulatory compliance. Detention basins should be correctly labeled as BVWs and vernal pools. The label of detention basin is believed to cause confusion and takes away from the importance of the jurisdictional area and potential impacts to them. Stormwater infiltration units should be at least 50 feet away from the resource areas, because it's in an outstanding resource water. It's unclear if this has been met. This cannot be waived by ZBA. Stormwater discharges to an ORW shall be removed and set back from the receiving water or wetland to the highest and best practical method. There are discharges that are adjacent to the wetland boundaries. And just kind of a quick definition of what ORWs are, just for clarification to the ZBA, because they're not as familiar with this. And then the last comment I had put in here is, not only do they need a NPDES from EPA, but also because it's an ORW, they also have to submit a copy of the Notice of Intent to Mass DEP as well, which isn't as well known, so wanted to put that on there. But that's the I know it seemed long, but quick overview of kind of what I had put together. Like I said, a lot of it is just, I think our peer reviewers have done a great job in looking through the comments. We have the benefit that ZBA used Lucas Environmental, who's very familiar with what we request. I think we tried to capture as much of, we find important regarding the 20-foot, especially the vernal pool habitat, but didn't know if there was additional comments that you would like to point out. I believe they're meeting next week, so we don't have another chance to review this, but I tried to at least compile as much as I could to make it easier for us to discuss.
Thank you, Melissa, for putting all this work into it. And I think you did a fantastic job of nailing down the fact that what was formerly constructed as a detention pond is now a BVW. Its original genesis is not material to our proceedings. It's a BVW, and it needs to be treated like that. We've gone through this before with other projects. The DEP has, come firmly down on the issue and supported us. And I think you did a great job of staking that out for us. So thank you.
Each time you look at it, you find something new.
Yep. Any questions or comments? Anything that you think any additions to the letter before it gets sent out? Because as Melissa said, we won't be able to look at it again as a group.
Melissa, you had mentioned grading for the crossing. Was that in the letter? I didn't see it, or is that just?
Yeah, that's one of the ones that's just reiterating Lucas's comments about the crossing. So I call out the specific comment number that he mentioned in it.
Okay, and he talks about grading and that
Oh, sorry, grates like on the top, not necessarily
the road level. Yeah.
Yeah, the grates as like along the top of the road to let the light through, like
Light and air circulation.
yeah.
Yeah.
But it also does talk about the grading around the road and the U shape to lead amphibians in and things like that as well.
Okay.
So it is inclusive of kind of all of those comments.
Okay.
I had one question because I was looking at some of the ZBA documents. I think the wetland report just kind of comes out and says they're completely exempt from local bylaws. Is that true, or do they actually have to get waivers from the ZBA to get it to be exempt?
They have to get the waivers.
Okay.
So they've submitted a waiver list to the ZBA, and I think for our regulations, they have requested the waiver of the jurisdiction under the wetlands bylaw regarding work within the 20-foot no touch.
Okay. So does the commission generally agree that the letter is good to go to be submitted to ZBA?
And I'll do a last read through to make sure all my words make sense. Laura's quite good at copy editing me, so.
Do you think it would be helpful for us to support it with a vote?
Yes, that would be great. I think it should come from the commission.
Okay, so I'm looking for a motion for the commission to formally issue the letter just discussed by Melissa to the Zoning Board of Appeals.
So moved.
Thank you. And a second?
Second.
Thank you.
Zulik,
Yes.
Arrington,
Yes.
Barbary Glebsky,
Yes.
Smith.
Yes.
Perfect.
Okay. Next up, reorganization.
I think we'll skip over that one.
Let's do it. Okay. So you're up next also, agent report.
So I will, not really much going on open and active sites. We've been pretty quiet. We did just approve a bunch of stuff, so that'll change, I'm sure. And then Breakneck Hill, grass is still growing. We do have some extra gravel that is alongside the erosion controls on the trail. So figuring out how to make sure that that is rectified when the erosion controls come out. Otherwise, we'll be working with stewardship on the restoration of the meadow that was impacted with the access road, and then also the dump area itself. So still making progress and working forward on that. Hopefully we can get a better understanding, get some quotes out there, and hopefully get started. It's kind of, we still have TRC doing some inspections every week just to make sure everything's status quo. I also just so everyone knows, I put out kind of a brief update. Myself, Bro shared it, and just kind of on what's been happening, especially because we have people still trying to access the closed off areas. I know stewardship has been really great in putting up signs. So trying to get the word out there just to keep out of this area. Let us succeed. It'll only cause more impacts and delays in the future. But I think that's about it for me. I did note I will be on vacation for the next meeting. I will be out of the country, so Laura will be here with you. There will be, just so you guys are aware, since I won't be here, there should be an RDA for 21 Cosland. They're going to be demolishing the existing EMC Dell building. One thing that they are requesting is an exemption from the SMP because they are simply demolishing. They're not building anything new at this part, but you know, it's a little bit, I think they're just above an acre. So they do have, you know, best management practices within the RDA cover letter. And then, you know, we kind of tried to figure out the best way forward, but because they are just simply demoing the building, they're not ripping up the parking lot as of now, they're just taking the walls and the foundation out. So they would obviously come back to us with a new, you know, proposal once they have someone or a plan for construction. And then an amended order for 8 Shipper will be coming in for a shed and this amazing pad for a bowling ball structure. So
All right.
it's really cool. It's actually really cool. And that's about it. That's all I have for tonight.
Okay, I've previously talked about the open community preservation seat, expecting that there's going to be no change there. And with that, Melissa, I hope you have a great time in your travels.
Thank you.
Enjoy
Thank
yourself.
you. I'm tagging along with my husband and Owen. We're going to France, so it should be fun.
Awesome. Oh my gosh.
so fun.
Yeah.
Well, we'll keep things in order back here and I hope you all have a fantastic time.
I know I just got back, but couldn't miss the opportunity.
Well, hey, yeah. Okay, so with that, we need one last motion. Who wants to do the honors?
My favorite one of the night. Movement to close the meeting.
And a second.
Second.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Zulik,
Yes.
Barrington,
Yes.
Barbara Glevsky,
Yes.
Smith.
Yes.
All right.
Hey, thanks everyone. Have a great night.
Safe travels, Melissa.
Night.
Thanks,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Bye-bye.
Have a good night, everyone.